My brother died 6 months ago. I attended the funeral. I stood beside the grave. I watched them lower his coffin into the ground. I watched the dirt cover it. There was no doubt Daniel was dead. But last night, at exactly 2:14 a.m., my phone rang, and the caller ID showed my brother's name. I should have ignored it. Instead, I answered. What happened next made me question everything I thought I knew about death, because the voice on the other end of the line wasn't a stranger. It wasn't a prank caller. It wasn't someone pretending to be him. It was Daniel. And that was only the beginning. The call lasted less than 20 seconds. At first, there was only static. Then came a strange sound. Breathing. Slow. Heavy. Almost painful. As if whoever was on the other end was struggling to stay alive. Then I heard it. A voice. Quiet. Weak. But unmistakable. Mike. My blood turned cold. I knew that voice. I had spent 27 years hearing it. It belonged to my brother, the same brother whose grave sat beneath 6 feet of earth. Before I could respond, the call disconnected. No explanation, no warning, nothing, just silence. I stared at the screen for nearly a minute, my heart hammering inside my chest, trying to convince myself there had to be a logical explanation. But what happened next was even stranger. A voicemail appeared, recorded at exactly 2:14 a.m. My hands trembled as I pressed play. The same breathing echoed through the speaker. Then Daniel's voice returned. This time he said only 3 words. "Can you hear me?" The message ended. I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. The next morning, I convinced myself it had to be a prank. Someone had cloned his number. Someone had found old recordings. Someone was playing a cruel joke. That explanation made sense, at least, until I visited my parents. I didn't tell them about the call. Instead, I casually asked if anything unusual had happened recently. The reaction was immediate. My mother's face lost all color. My father slowly looked away. For several seconds, neither of them spoke. Then my father whispered something that made my stomach drop. He called us too. A chill ran down my spine. 3 nights earlier, 2:14 a.m., their landline rang. My father answered and heard Daniel's voice. Not only that, the caller repeated a private sentence Daniel had spoken years ago. A sentence nobody else knew. Not friends. Not relatives. Not even me. Someone on that phone knew something impossible. That's when things became disturbing. The calls continued. Every night. Always at 2:14 a.m. Always from Daniel's number. Each call lasted less than a minute. Each one revealed another piece of a puzzle. One night he said, "It's cold." The next, "I can't see anything." Then another, "They never came back." Every message felt incomplete, like someone trying desperately to tell a story but running out of time. I began recording every call, writing down every word, searching for patterns, and slowly, a terrifying possibility began forming in my mind. What if Daniel wasn't calling from beyond the grave? What if something else had happened? Something nobody knew about? I decided to investigate his death myself. Officially, Daniel had died during a hiking trip in a remote forest. Search teams located a body several days later. The body was identified. The case was closed. End of story. Or so everyone believed. As I reviewed old reports, one detail caught my attention, a detail nobody seemed to care about. The body had been identified mostly through clothing, personal belongings, and circumstantial evidence. The remains themselves were badly damaged. DNA confirmation had never been completed. I read that sentence 3 times, then a 4th. A horrible thought entered my mind. What if they buried the wrong person? At first, it sounded ridiculous until my phone vibrated. A new text message had arrived from Daniel's number. 3 simple words. Look in the attic. I froze because Daniel and I had grown up in the same house, and our childhood attic held memories nobody else knew about. The next morning, I drove there immediately. What I found changed everything. The attic was exactly how I remembered it. Dust-covered furniture, old photographs, broken boxes, years of forgotten memories. For hours, I searched. Nothing. Then I noticed something strange. A loose wooden panel hidden behind an old shelf. Behind it sat a small metal box. Inside was a notebook. Daniel's notebook. I recognized the handwriting instantly. At first, the pages seemed normal. Daily thoughts, random notes, plans for future trips. Then everything changed. The final entries became frantic, messy, panicked. Sentence after sentence filled the pages. Someone is following me. Someone is following me. Someone is following me. My pulse quickened because according to official records, Daniel had written those words only 2 days before his death. But what happened next was even stranger. That night, the phone rang again. 2:14 a.m. Daniel. I answered immediately. This time there was no static, no breathing, only silence. Then his voice, clearer than ever before. They found the wrong body. Every hair on my body stood up. What happened to you? I shouted. The line crackled violently. Then I heard something unexpected. Footsteps. Several pairs of footsteps. Moving closer, slowly, deliberately, as if someone was approaching him. Daniel suddenly sounded terrified. More terrified than I had ever heard him in my life. They're here. The call ended. I never heard that version of his voice again. The following weeks became a nightmare. I handed everything to the authorities. The recordings, the notebook, the phone logs, the reports, everything. An investigation quietly reopened. For a brief moment, I thought answers were finally coming. Instead, the mystery deepened. Requests were denied. Documents disappeared. Questions went unanswered. And then, without explanation, Daniel's case was sealed, officially unresolved, permanently restricted, almost as if someone wanted the truth hidden forever. That's when I realized something. Maybe the calls were never meant to prove Daniel was alive. Maybe they were meant to reveal something much worse, something buried deeper than a grave. You probably think that's where the story ends. I wish it did. But every month, on the exact same date, at exactly 2:14 a.m., my phone still rings. The caller ID still shows Daniel's name, and every time I answer, I hear the same sentence, the same chilling words that haunt me more with each passing month. I'm still waiting. Waiting where? Waiting for who? Waiting for what? I don't know. Maybe my brother died 6 months ago. Maybe he didn't. Maybe someone made a terrible mistake. Or maybe the truth is far darker than anyone wants to admit. All I know is this. As I tell you this story, my phone is sitting beside me. The room is completely silent. The clock reads 2:13 a.m., and in less than 60 seconds, it's going to ring again. The question is no longer whether I'll answer. The question is, who will be waiting on the other end this time?